Hey, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you once again for tuning into episode number 5 of Into Reality, where I interview Alan Mekibel, one of the co-founders of Yallagan, a global Jewish event platform. In this conversation, Alan and I speak about him growing up in Russia, eventually going to school in the US, living in Berlin for a little bit, everything in between, the development of Yallagan, and finally, Alan settling and living in Israel. I have so much appreciation for each and every one of you guys that is watching right now as I turn my idea into reality. Hope you enjoy the episode.
How do you start recording it? Do you just click or it's already recording?
So honestly, I've done it differently every time. I like when it just like flows. Yeah. So I started recording like a couple minutes ago, and it got like our conversation before.
Nice.
So all those like things you said before, they're there.
Easy.
No, but I just think it's much like better and like more natural when it's that way.
No, I'm super down.
That way I do it like
I'm
that.
I'm a casual guy.
But yeah, I'm glad to be talking to you. I didn't own this shirt before, but you just gave it to me.
Yeah.
Do I get to keep it?
I'll let you know after.
Why?
I don't have we're reprinting a lot of them now.
Okay. Why is this flawed? It looks
nice.
No,
I just don't have. I have like 2.
Okay.
So I need to make sure I have 2 so I can wear them places.
And do you sell them or not yet?
No, we just give them out.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe at some point we'll sell them, but for now it's just
cool.
Brand awareness. I think maybe there's like 500 out there.
Okay.
Maybe a bit less.
Limited edition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we go to big events, we try and get them printed, but we have no budget, so
for sure.
It's like, do we do it? Do we not? Is it worth
it?
It's also like, you're not going to wear this in most of the world. Most people don't feel
like outside of Israel. Yeah.
So most people either exercise in them, go to Israel in them, or sleep in them.
Yeah.
Or take them to Jewish events around Europe.
It's like a classic, like the summer camp, like youth group shirts.
Exactly. We have there's a Dutch guy who was here for Taglit, and he wore it like two times, I think, during volunteering. And we're on their Instagram with him with it. No, we're like, yeah. I mean, we're not tagged or anything, but it's still like,
but you see it and you're like, that's us.
It's silly brand awareness. That's
of course. Yeah,
that's super appreciated.
Yeah, well, I think it's super cool. Obviously, I know who you are, but I'll speak as if I don't. That way, the like 3.5 people that are gonna watch this,
what's up? No, we're gonna get it up. We're gonna
can know who you are. Alan, how do you pronounce your last name?
Mekibel.
Mekibel?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like going over to my head. Yeah, I don't really know how to say it. Alan Mekibel, Israeli-born, Russian-speaking household.
Yeah.
And you're involved in a couple different things. How I know you is through Yallagan, or by I went to tour an apartment sometime last year.
There you go.
And you told me about Yallagan, which is a global a website for global Jewish events that's participating right now in 35 different countries and growing.
Yes, sir.
How many participants?
So the idea is, if you know what Eventbrite is, it's a Jewish Eventbrite. So our goal is to help you connect to Jewish community, Jewish organizations, Jewish programming when you're at home in Tel Aviv, or next time you're in Paris, Berlin, Rome, or Panama. So we have at the moment somewhere around 170 organizations from 35 countries. We've had over like 1,600 events published.
Amazing.
So we don't organize them, but the Hillels, the Chabads, the La Casas, the Olamis, the Brownstones of the world, they can publish their events. And because when you're somewhere abroad, most of the time because of security, you can't find these things. So we want to create a place where you're like, you know what, I'm in Tel Aviv or I'm in Berlin these dates. Maybe there's a Shabbat dinner for young adults that I can find, or maybe there's a party or a networking event. Something for you to be able to connect. I mean, we started this post-COVID where connection was very important.
Yeah.
We're now in the post-October 7th reality where I think Jewish connection and Jewish security is even more important. We're a closed website, so you first have to register, and then we give you access so everyone who's on the platform feels comfortable that they're secured.
Yeah, that's something I was going to ask about, but I do remember you telling me something along those lines back when you told me about the website, and then I ended up signing up.
Yeah.
I ended up trying to look for it. So the organizations you work with, it has to be like organizations, or what about if an individual wants to put together a Jewish event?
We're happy to work. We have individuals. It's a pretty loose definition. We have our lines of who's allowed on the platform. but they're pretty obvious lines who are not welcome.
Right.
Pretty much everyone is welcome. If you are someone who does Shabbat dinners, or if you're someone who is organizing something and you want to bring random people and open it up, imagine you're someone who lives in Vienna and you're hosting, dinners for young Jewish adults. We're happy for you to post it up there. You can either put your face as your logo, or if you want, create a logo and put it up there.
Right.
But it's just to empower community builders and people who do this work, and also to empower us ourselves, young people, and not just young people, to be able to connect. Because yesterday I went to an event, and there was a girl who's lived here for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I go to this place. I'm like, oh, cool. I also go to this place, this place, this place. She's like, what are they? I have never heard of them. And like, because there's a lot of communities.
This place meaning what? Just like
Brownstone,
like a social
JLIC.
community?
Yeah,
Okay.
social Jewish community. If it's learning with Shabbat dinners, if it's trips, if it's movie screenings. I'm not here to define what is Jewish programming.
Right.
It can be Torah study, or it could be a wine and cheese night, or it can be watching football with a bunch of Jewish lads in a pub. Like, I'm just here to help Jews find each other and connect. So
yeah, I wish like more people, because I feel like group chats are so popular. Which you also have a group chat. What is it? Good. I think I wrote it down. Good vibes and people in Tel Aviv with Alan.
Yeah.
You have, last I checked, 700 members.
I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah.
But there's new members being added every day. How many of those people have you met personally? Would you say? You have to guess.
I want to. I mean, if it's 700 people, probably 40 to 50%. I think so. The way it started off, well, to mention the first thing you said, I think group chats are great. It's just there's so many of them, and I think what we're usually doing is we're chasing content. So it's like you hope to be in the right place at the right time. We want to eliminate that. I mean, please keep using your group chats if you want. We want you to not have to check 15 different places, but one place. This kind of just happened. So last year on Yom Ha'atzmaut, I decided to make a WhatsApp group for like Yom Ha'atzmaut for like 10, 15 friends, just so we can coordinate. It went great. And then
that was the original name?
I can check what the original name was. It was probably Yom Ha'atzmaut, or like, honestly, it's worth checking just so I know.
Yeah.
And then Yom Ha'atzmaut finished. And what I would do, I think at that time, I may have already still been living in Netanya. So my parents live in Netanya, and they came back 2 years ago. And when I moved here from Berlin a year ago, I to like save and just be with my family, because I haven't been with them in 10 years. I started there. And when I would come to Tel Aviv on the Saturdays or something like that, I would be like, hey, I'm going to the beach to like 5 or 10 friends. Here's my location. And sometimes someone was like, hey, why don't you just create a WhatsApp group and just send it there? And I'm like, what am I? Come on, like, what? That's ridiculous. and then I had this WhatsApp group, and then I was like, you know what? Let me change it to an obnoxious name, put a ridiculous photo in it, and add like all the people I know, which was, I don't know, maybe 50, 100, maximum 150 people that I knew, like friends and acquaintances,
or like friends of friends, and
and it was going great. It was literally me being like, I'm going to the Shabbat dinner, whoever wants to join, or I'm going to this shiur, or there's this cool exhibition, I'm going here. And then people are also welcome to publish. At this point, it's a community. And it definitely got a lot of speed when the war began, because a lot of people were trying to help. And I mean, it's mostly international people, as I guess as we're referred to as Olim.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as a WhatsApp group for Olim. It's been referred to that way.
But also like Israelis are welcome.
Everyone's welcome.
Well.
Israelis. There's no. I don't gatekeep it. I don't actively always talk about it, just because it's kind of a silly thing. But I mean, it's become really nice.
No, it's
a great thing.
It's great.
But it's also because it's at 700 people. I feel like we're gonna hit 1,000 at some point, and at some point I'm gonna switch it to a community. So I'm just letting it grow organically. Like people sometimes are like, oh, I heard you have a WhatsApp group. I'm like, yeah, here, you're welcome to join. I'm not gatekeeping it, but it's not like in a conversation. I'm like, hey, have you heard about my WhatsApp group? Yeah.
It's not like those exclusive group chats in high school.
But it's
this
also,
person can join, this person can't.
It's also not like Olim in Tel Aviv, or like it's still, I'm an individual with no agenda here. Maybe at some point we can do something with it. Maybe we can do events. Like I think it's worth it. I just don't have the headspace right now. Probably after September, because we're running like a crowdfunding campaign. So we're a nonprofit. Yallagan is a nonprofit. So we're running a crowdfunding campaign so we can keep growing. And so after then, I'll have a bit more headspace, hopefully. Okay. Just to do more things.
Cool. Well, I think like Yallagan aside, I think this group chat and like your overall mindset is great.
Thank you.
It's something that I try to live by as well. Like I never try to like exclude people. I always try to include people. It's hard sometimes when like I'm invited to like a friend's Shabbat, and then like these other friends are asking me like, "What are you doing?" And I like ask my friend for, "Oh, can this person and this person come?" But then it's like this other person and this other person, and like
it's hard.
You somewhat feel responsible. Thankfully, maybe it's more as of recent, or maybe I'm just starting to like notice it more. But thankfully, there are these other communities that like, if you want to have somewhere to spend Shabbat,
They're out here.
There are places.
So,
there are a lot of free options. There's a lot of cheaper options, and then there's also events and social things you can pay a little bit more for. But I think are like good value. And
I mean, I think even like the stuff that's like 100 shekels, 150. I think it's worth it. I mean, first of all, you get to meet people. Second of all, you get food. It's dinner on a Friday night. You get alcohol. Like I think it just. I think many people are used to coming from communities where everything's paid for.
Yeah.
And I get that, and like I'm the same, but here it's different. The environment's different, and a lot of these organizations are like grassrooted. They're like, "Yo, we need a space for young people. I'm gonna do this. But nobody, it's.
And they charge because they need to cover their costs.
They're not
just gonna sponsor a meal for 100 plus.
If you need help, you can always reach out. They will give you a discount.
Yeah.
They're willing to help. But
they are.
On average, there's not crazy prices. It just I think people don't like to. Nobody likes to pay for anything.
Yeah,
it's
no. I've been on that end as well.
Yeah,
like debating if I should go to this Shabbat dinner or not, and I'm like,
it's 100 shekels.
I don't really want to pay, but once in a while I'll budge.
You'll end up spending that 100 shekels somewhere else, and it's like
it's true.
It's a good way to connect and bring some light into your life, and so why not?
Very true. So, in regards to Yallagan, you told me. I'm confused. Did you start it or no?
So we are 3 founders.
Okay.
I wasn't the original founder. I have 2 other founders,
nice.
Michael and Lucy. Michael is in Germany.
Okay.
He's a German Jew, and Lucy is originally French, but has lived in Spain in Alicante for the last 8 years.
Nice.
And we actually all knew each other from different Jewish events around Europe.
Oh, really?
So we met in different countries, and at some point, I think 2 months after they came together and had this idea and like created a logo and like said we're doing this.
Around when was that?
January 2020, I want to say. So 2 years, just over 2 years.
Well, we're in 24 right now.
We're in 24, so under 2 years. So we haven't hit January 25. So
wait, you said 2020?
2022.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No.
I was like,
wait. No. We're in January 2022. In March of that year, they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, we're doing this. Would you like to join?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Absolutely." Because I knew the pain. So at that moment I moved to Berlin, and I took like 3-4 months off. Just kind of, I just traveled to Jewish events around Europe. I went to Shabbatons, I went to conferences, I went to like seminars, just for the shits of it. Like I felt like I wanted to connect with more people, and I love it. And I know about these things, but I went out of my way to find them. And anytime I would come back from these events, people would be like, "Hey, how did you hear about this? I would love to go to this." Or I remember like Erev Pesach in Berlin, where there's like 5 or 6 or 10 options for Seder. Someone was like, "Hey, that week of," they're like, where are you going for dinner? Like, I don't know where to go. I'm like, "Here are 5 options." And so when they came to me with this concept, I was like, this is so needed. Because in Europe, everything is closed for security. And so you don't know about half the stuff.
So you think more outside of Israel it's needed than in Israel?
I think it's 2 very different needs. I think we're trying to cover everything for everyone with the understanding that the need is similar but different everywhere.
Yeah.
Places like Tel Aviv or New York have more things happening than you can handle. So therefore, it's really hard to navigate them. So you don't know. You might go to one place or 2 places and you just stick to it because you're like, I don't know anything else. Right. You might not even love it there. And then you'll be invited to some other Shabbat dinner with the crowd that's like perfect for you, and you're like, "Oh, where'd you guys come from?" They're like, "Oh, we've been doing this for 10 years, you know."
Yeah.
And then you find out that this friend goes here, this friend goes here, this friend goes here. So in Europe, it's very needed because the communities are much smaller. So first of all, to know what's happening there's like one city will have 15 organizations, and like it's 15 WhatsApp groups or 15 newsletters, whatever.
Yeah.
But then imagine if you're in Serbia or in Sweden or Norway, communities where like there's 1,000, 5,000 people in the whole country.
Right.
You're willing to travel. You're willing to meet people. So the need is very much for Europe. In the US, it's different. It's to be able to navigate the huge ecosystem. In Tel Aviv and Israel, I think especially for Olim, most of us come from a community, and we come here and we don't know what to do. A lot of people don't have family, and there's also a lot of noise. There's a lot of. I mean, Tel Aviv is nonstop.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really cherish and love going to places and meeting people and like having this, whatever your connection to Judaism is, having that there. And I think that's when I got here, I would bring people to different organizations who have lived here for years.
Right.
And they're like, I was missing this, or I haven't, I've been looking for something like this, and I just had, I would look, not find, and then just go to Tether, whatever.
Yeah.
So
which isn't a bad option either.
Which is a spectacular option. But it's just to show you that there is this community, like especially with everything happening. I think a lot of people need support, and even like with my WhatsApp group at this point, like I don't know where it's going, but like my friends aren't too about it anymore because they're like, it's 700 people, like make a separate one for her. And like I message my friends individually, it's fine. But I also understand that it's for the I meet people. Like yesterday, I met someone who moved here 2 weeks ago. I'm like, here, like this will be beneficial for you. I'm not being like, hey, this is like tuning my. Yeah. But like people don't know people. They want to be able to go. Like on Tuesdays, there's an open mic night on Bugrashov 18.
Yeah.
And it's so great. And it's just like good people. That's good vibes, good people. Just to meet people because there's a lot of wonderful people out here, and not everybody knows people when they come here. And I agree. It's tough. So community, I think, is the main thing nowadays.
Yeah. So in March 2022, the co-founders approached me,
and I joined as a co-founder. I'm a co-founder and the executive director. So I'm
Amazing.
The CEO in the nonprofit world. It's called executive director.
Nice. When did you come back to Tel Aviv? Shortly after that?
No, I came back to Tel Aviv a year ago. So April 2023.
Okay, so like 13 months after you started with Yallagan.
Yeah, so I was living in Berlin, and I was first doing this part-time, and I was doing like software sales.
Nice. How was that? I didn't know you did tech sales.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it. I was a freelance tech sales for a software development house. I was straight up going to trying to find clients to develop stuff for them. It's very hard. It was entertaining and interesting, but very hard.
Sounds fast paced.
Yeah, very. No structure. Kind of like make the best of it.
Yeah.
And I started doing this, and then I was like, this was something that I really care for. Like, I care about the Jewish people. I care about people. I care about bringing community, and I enjoy technology. I'm not a tech guy, but I enjoy tech. I was there on a 1-year visa, and it was ending
in Berlin.
And the decision was either I get a full-time job with a visa somewhere, or I do a master's of some sort to stay, or I moved back to Israel. And so I lived in Spain for 6 years. Let me maybe just for a snippet, just say kind of why I sound. So I'm born here to Soviet parents, but I was raised in Russia, in Moscow. But I went to an American school. So I sound like and then I went to Syracuse for 2.5 years. I lived in Spain for 6 years. I lived in Berlin for a year, and then I came here. So I've been around, and
yeah.
I was
so unique.
Yeah, it's super random, and like all of it was studies or like kind of visa chasing, and like I'm very grateful for where I've been, but also super random. And like I went from Moscow to Syracuse, like.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It was a cultural shock just to even the American Jewry. Like I didn't know what I was signing up for. Like it was 14% Jew or 18, a lot, and it was cool. Like I loved it, but it was very different from what I'm used to.
Yeah. Do you think in English currently at this point in your life?
I mean, if I'm speaking English, I'll probably think in English. If I'm speaking Russian, I'll think in Russian probably.
Those are the two languages you think you'd say?
Yeah.
Because you speak other languages.
I speak Spanish, but I don't think in Spanish.
Okay.
I have to think in. Yeah. Probably Russian. I don't know.
Right. And how's your Hebrew? I forget if you know.
Weak. No.
Really?
I need to get it up there, yeah. So okay. I grew up speaking Russian at home and English in school.
Right. Okay.
And to Israel, yeah. So my parents moved back here when the war in Ukraine started. And so when I was looking at places to go, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to. My brother also, I live with my 2 siblings here. My whole family is in Israel. So it was time. I moved here at the age of 28. So I was like, why not? Like, where else am I going to go? I loved Berlin. Big fan. Also, 90% of the Jewish community in Germany is Russian speaking. Really? So it's Russian speaking Jews, just like me. So I really cherished it. And it's a cool city. There's a lot going on, a lot of Jewish community as well. But it just felt like time to come back, and can't be happier.
That's amazing.
No.
I haven't been to Germany, and I've been wanting to go. I feel like it was probably easier for you since it was a Russian speaking community.
Probably, yeah.
To be integrated.
Totally. I mean, it's not a Russian-speaking community. I was still speaking mostly. All the leaders, like all the, still speaking English, but the participants, like 3 out of 4, would be able to speak Russian.
Right.
And I went to a summer program like 2-3 years ago, and there was 200 of us, and 50 of them were Germans, and 90 of them spoke Russian to me. And I'm like, who are you people? Where have you been all my life?
That's great.
And so yeah, I mean, I also had some high school friends in Berlin, so like it was comfortable.
From here,
from Moscow,
and
from college.
Okay, right.
So I just from university in Madrid, and yeah, I mean, if you tell me 3 years ago even that I would live in Berlin, the word has never been mentioned in my house. Like how I ended up in Berlin,
and it's crazy that you say like 3 years ago because you already like lived there. It kind of feels like you had a whole lifetime there.
Oh, for sure.
And then left.
Yeah, I mean, like, I left.
Like 3 years is so short ago.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Madrid. I went to Madrid for 6 months. It became 6 years.
Yeah.
So, like, and then, I mean, if you told me, like, a month, 2 or 3 months before I made the decision of Berlin, that the word Berlin's never been in my head. Like, my mom, when I said I'm moving to Berlin, she's like to the center of it all, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like I made a decision to move there before I've even visited, and then I was like, let me just go check it out in November, and then I got there, and I was like, I can do this. Like it half reminds me of Moscow because of the the east, because it's the east side of Berlin and Germany, and then the other side is just kind of European, and I'm like, okay, I vibe.
Nice. No, it's cool. I would never like move to a place without trying it first. I went when the war started. I went to live in London for like 2 months, and I have always been fascinated by London. I still think it's a beautiful place to visit,
but not now.
But not even with like the anti-Semitism.
Okay.
Just like, first of all, the weather is so gloomy, too gloomy for me. I'm sure Moscow's the same. I assume.
Moscow's pretty gray.
And what about Berlin?
Pretty gray. I mean, the summer is beautiful, but
yeah. Well, I was in London in like middle of winter, 2 months. The job I was doing, the company I was working for, like closed 2 weeks after I arrived there. So like,
oh damn,
getting up in the morning was not easy. To say the least, but I still enjoyed. I went to like a good amount of theater. I went to some football games.
Nice football games.
Some soccer games, and yeah, I mean, I'm still grateful for that experience I had. But I did complete my dream of like living in London, and I don't think I have to do that again.
I've thought about it a lot. Like when I was in like thinking of places, London was definitely an option. Mm-hmm. But I need a visa to live there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I was there like 2 months unofficially.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's a cool place, but yeah, my sister spent a lot, like 8 years there. She studied there and then worked, and she didn't have the best time there necessarily.
How old is she?
39. She's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
Lives here with her kids. Like.
Okay, nice. So. Nice. Wait, so Yallagan is a non-profit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started off the concept because we're servicing the community. We're a community-based platform. Mm-hmm. And we were able to get a few grants, like seed grants, one from the World Jewish Congress, one from the Sachnut, like the Jewish agency in Germany, and one from the French Federation of Jews, like the Jewish Federation of France.
Amazing.
And the rest we've bootstrapped, like 70-80%. We've just kind of spent out of pocket because we think it's important.
What are this might be like too personal,
no, please.
But I don't know, like what are costs associated with running the website?
I mean,
the platform?
First of all, developing the platform.
Yeah.
Second of all, marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Third of all, I mean, we don't get paid a salary, so that would be a cost, but we don't.
Yeah.
Travel. Because the best way for people to know about it is to be places. And if we're trying to service the community, we need to know who you are. Mm-hmm. We need to understand you. Like I just spent 10 days in Sweden with the program, and I understood much better what the Swedish Jewish reality is. It's very unique with, again, the same needs, but just you still have to understand how they. So I've been able to really cover. Like I went from Croatia to. I don't know, bro. Like we've done so many different conferences and little Shabbatons with young adults and not just young adults.
Spreading the
word, learning, kind of also market researching and getting there. And so the costs are continuous, right? If it's hosting and stuff like that, we want to be able to hire someone like marketing. We want to bring the technology in-house. And that's why we're going to be running the crowdfunding in September to try and raise like an operational budget for human resources and stuff like that. We will we will be profitable and we will be sustainable, but that takes time because we don't want to charge the user.
But profitable, like, is this a non-profit?
It's a non-profit. When I mean profitable, as in we're self-sustaining.
Right.
Not, we can
depending on these other people.
We're not making profit, as in we'll have money left over, as in we'll be able to just circulate cover costs, pay employees.
Right.
So we'll be from ad space, from ticketing, from one thing we want to do, which could be interesting for you or others, is like a service provider system. So if you're a Jewish musician, photographer, caterer, whatever, you can put up your services, and then organizations can hire you for their programming, and then we just take a cut. And then we also want to help the community builders. We want to help them better know who comes to their events, who they are, what they like, and just kind of give them more power, more kind of control, and to be able to help them. So I don't know. So 5 Shabbats, don't do it all this week, and then next week there's no Shabbats. Like, let's have some coordination. This happened last week. Last week there was no one Shabbat dinner happening in Tel Aviv, and a bunch of people were asking like, where do I go? Yeah. Like, I don't know, but next week
one Shabbat dinner like from an organization. Obviously. From an
organization, obviously. There's obviously a bunch of households, but not everybody has friends who do Shabbat or it's tough. Like, but I also like one thing I'm so grateful for is that there is an active Jewish life in Tel Aviv. You can take it in any step of the way, but it's there for you. Like, I think people always think of Jerusalem as the place, but like, on Saturday you can go in like the 3-4 kiddushes, and like, I mean, I'm not saying that is what Judaism was about, but
no, but to some people that's what
like I went to New York, and I was able to go when I was there to like 3 or 4 different places the same day, because that's just kind of the route people have, and I don't think people know this exists here.
I agree.
And I think it's so important to showcase it, because I mean, more and more people are coming here, and it's beautiful, because you have the kind of the secular reality, the Israeli reality, and and then you do have the touch points where you can feel Jewish. You can keep Shabbat if you want to. And you have the community of, if it's learning or participating. So it's out here. So it's important.
I agree.
It's funny. Right before we sat down, I told myself, I'm like, either my grandma will call me or my mom. And like 2 minutes in, my grandma calls me, and I was like, I knew, I'll call her back.
Yeah. That's why, like, with these 2 phones, I put them on airplane mode, because I don't want to get interrupted.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's funny. I just felt like my grandma's gonna call me.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Where do your grandparents live?
Here, my grandma's in Ra'anana. My grandpa is in Shoam.
Nice. Where?
Shoam.
Shoam.
Shoam, like by the airport.
Yeah, I have a friend from Shoam.
Yeah, my dad's family lives there, and my mom's family lives in Ra'anana.
Nice. Ra'anana, a lot of Olim there.
Yeah, they've been there since the 90s.
Okay. OGs.
But OGs.
Nice.
Russian speakers in Ra'anana. Why? Nobody knows. But
what about Yam?
It's not a thing, Yeah, go to Bat Yam, go to Rishon.
Rishon also. Rishon is being developed a lot.
Everything is.
No, I know
Rishon specifically.
But I don't know. Well, I guess I don't go to these like cities really, but I went to Rishon, so that's when I saw them. Like, whoa.
I mean, I went to in Petach Tikva. They have an Italy. It
sounds vaguely.
It's like a brand with like Italy. It's usually a food market, and they have Italian restaurants.
Nice.
I was like, in Petach Tikva, like what? Why? Like, bring it to Tel Aviv.
That's funny. Why were you in Petach Tikva to begin with?
I was there for something.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. I don't remember.
Okay.
I remember I drove. I know why I was there. I was driving my grandmother to physiotherapy.
Okay.
And so while I was waiting for her.
NJB.
Yeah, of course. I got a car here. I get used for it. So.
You have one in Tel Aviv as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm happy to help.
Nice.
I'm happy to help.
Nice. And then about like the organizations or the people that are putting their events on Yallagan. Now, is it more like, are you constantly poaching people to like put it on your website? Or
look, I mean, it's a win-win. It's free for organizations at the moment to publish. So, and our goal is to help them reach more people. So we're always speaking to more organizations. We're now in a place where we're trying to grow the user base. Like, we have a decent amount of users, but we want you to use it.
I agree,
because
yeah.
we had to go chicken or the egg. Because originally, if we started the platform, told you as an individual, being like, come hang out with us, there's nothing there for you, you're not coming back. So we had to go to the organizational route and be like, hey,
That's what I was thinking as
this
well.
is our vision.
Mhm.
This is what we're trying to do. Would you be willing to spend 2 minutes, register the platform? We'll publish your events for you. But we just, and so now we're in a place where like I feel confident to tell you, like in Tel Aviv, you can find a bunch of stuff, or in
Amazing.
Berlin or London or Paris or stuff like that. But now I need to reach everyone else because people
The
I'm not
consumers. The
yeah
consumer
I'm not
side.
great at speaking. I'm great at speaking about it, but I don't speak to people about work.
You feel like, yeah.
I don't want to burden people.
Mhm. I hear you.
I'm
I
a lot
hear
better
you.
about it now, just because, I mean, I'm doing it for the people.
Yeah.
I want the people to do it, use
Yeah.
it. But it's a constant. We're trying to find more users, more organizations, and more like support partnerships and stuff.
Yeah, I think something that you should do also, because I'm in like a couple different like social group chats with you
Yeah.
of people in Tel Aviv, and you send Shabbat dinners there as well. Well,
I should send a link from my website to there. I got to do it. The issue is that we're waiting for a new website, but when I send it this way, you don't. It just because the website's closed, you don't see it. So you would first have to register. But
I know.
I need to find a. I will. I need to find a better structure to then publish it this way. Even on the WhatsApp, that it says like you first need to register to the website, but then you have access. So I will be better about that, and I'll work on it.
When someone registers to the website, obviously it's for security, but in what ways that's secure? Like, I'm putting my name.
You put
email address.
You put. I mean, that's so. We ask you some questions. If you're associated with the community, if you've ever been to any Jewish events, we ask you: are you Jewish? Yes, no. Are you friend of the Jewish community? So we even allow a space for like Israel support to be there hypothetically.
Mhm.
It's more like LL style, so we go very individually. We check your socials first, like not like
LL style.
Yeah, I mean it's more security. It's not,
Yeah.
we're not checking
Yeah.
your halacha type of thing, or halacha, halacha, and it's more just to know that you're not there for malicious intent. So, if I have 100 Jewish mutual friends with you, I mean that's a pretty good green flag.
Yeah, of course.
But then if I need to, I will call you. I'll call you a reference. So like it's quite manual. We want to speed it up through like different referral links, but again, we're waiting for the new website.
Yeah. I was asking because when we were speaking about you sending the link of Yallagan for a specific event, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world where security wasn't an issue, if you literally like sign in through email quickly, but obviously these questions are important to know.
Because we want usability.
Yeah, I don't know if this is even possible, but if there's like this is like tech side, if there's like an integration to WhatsApp that can, like I'm speaking for Tel Aviv specifically, that can
know that you're in my WhatsApp group.
That can recognize that you're in like specific group chats, not just your group chat, but it could be
others. WhatsApp is quite
JLXC.
Difficult to take stuff from.
Mhm.
But one thing that we want to do is we want to have like a light sign in. So imagine you come to there and you can buy a ticket directly, but then you don't have to make a full profile. But then you've done like a third of the profile, and then when you buy the ticket, it says like, would you like to view the ticket, you need to make a full profile.
I think that's a good idea as well.
Or something like that.
That's a good idea as well. And also, these events do have the address publicized, so it's not like you're doing anything unsecure by allowing them to see the flyer
Israel and Tel Aviv,
beforehand.
it's much more chilled.
I guess we're talking about specifically for Israel and Tel Aviv.
Yeah, for outside of here, I mean, we will also have the functionality for the organization can put the address in and then like click release the day before, like so they also don't have to manually be like, here's the email, like check it out, whatever. So like we are trying to streamline it and make it better. And
good, amazing.
I do want to mention, because you asked me originally, there's a couple other things I do, and I think one project that I'm involved with I think is very important. It's called the FOA. It's called maybe you have it, maybe you don't.
Yeah, I have it written down just in case.
Cool, yeah. So
because I wasn't gonna remember what it stood for.
No, you're good. So it stands for Fighting Online Anti-Semitism, and what we do is we educate people how to report anti-Semitic content on social media and online, by educating them what is actually anti-Semitism, what's not, and how it's classified. From there, we are able to track was it deleted or not, and we build reports that we pass on to different NGOs. But also we have some relationships with the social media companies, so we can be like, hey, company A, not to single anyone out, we reported 100 pieces of content, you deleted 50. It all goes by your guidelines. What's up? Let's make it better. Like, for example, now good. Meta, I don't know if we were involved with this, but Meta is going to...
Meta.
Yeah.
You say it like it's a Hebrew word.
Meta.
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 You know, Meta, they are now going to be classifying, they're being much more careful with Zionism and it being like dealing with anti-Semitism.
Yeah, they need to do a lot better.
And so, like, I help with the Russian speaking side of it. So I educate in Russian because everyone needs to help. Because it's very important to report stuff because sometimes people kind of just be like, whatever, like, I don't want to see this. But it makes a difference.
Do you know someone who works for like, the Meta or these other platforms?
I mean, my
or like the FOA people.
The FOA does. FOA we build relationships.
Okay,
their original grant was from Google. Like we speak directly, I think, to TikTok and.
That's so interesting.
It's cool. Yeah, I mean, some of the platforms are like TikTok is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Instagram's better.
Where's the line drawn? Because there's things that maybe aren't anti-Semitism,
sure,
but are like on the verge of being hateful or actually hateful, but not quite. I don't know. Like,
I don't know if how they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they have different systems. They have AI. They also have individual flaggers, and they I think it depends. That's why you have to read the community guidelines and code of conduct, which is a lot and annoying.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're trying to be better. I mean, there's a lot of they're trying. I mean, there's different lines. I mean, like, one thing you have to understand, like, hating on Israel or hating on any country is not considered hate speech because it's freedom of speech, and you can.
Right.
But when it comes down to being dealing with protected group, and Jews are a protected minority, kind of, not really, but kind of.
It doesn't feel that way.
No, it doesn't feel that way. I mean, there's incitement. I mean, again, it also really depends on the country as well, right? So it depends on like in Germany, Holocaust denial is a punishable crime. So they go by their guidelines and they deal with the country's actual like laws, right? So America is much harder because the freedom of speech laws are so loose. I don't know, like,
yeah,
I don't know what the term would be. So free. I mean,
free,
freedom, and they take it very seriously, and so there's a lot, but versus other places, it depends. It's quite hard to generalize, but they do their best, I mean, as best as they can.
Right. And so how long has the FOA been around, and how long have
the
you been
FOA has been around since, if I'm not mistaken, 2020.
Okay. 4 years and some. Yeah,
something like that. They're also a nonprofit, Israeli-based. Tomer is their founder. They do amazing work, and I've been involved with them. I met them about a year ago in Poland at an anti-Semitism conference.
Nice.
And I still was in touch with them for a while, and then at some point they reached out, asked if I wanted to help with certain things, and the Russian-speaking side made sense. And when they have time and money and vice versa, because I do paid volunteering because I have to live somehow.
Like freelance-esque?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I'd like hourly up to like 50 hours a month if there's actual work.
That's so cool.
It's sporadical.
Okay.
Yeah. Magid. So there's a rabbi named Gedaliah Shostak. He's originally from Kiev, lived in Australia. Now he's based out of Moscow. He's a rabbi. He's a Litvak rabbi. And the cool thing about him is he has 2 historical degrees. So one thing that people really enjoy listening to him is he runs in Russian. He runs Jewish history like lectures, but it's cool because he doesn't just talk Torah history. He talks like, here's a history book, and here, so this was this king, this was the actual name of the king at these times, and this was the culture at this time. So it's really cool. So he draws parallels. So there was a couple people who really enjoy his content and think it's important what he does. Put a little bit of money behind him, made a website, made a Telegram channel. And so I just kind of they reached out to me because they know me through someone, and to try and help them grow and reach more Russian speakers because I'm kind of in the space.
Nice.
And the idea is just to bring some sort of Judaism into Russian-speaking lives, because post-Soviet reality of Judaism is there's very little Judaism of it left because my parents, most Russian speaking parents didn't grow up with Judaism.
Right.
And something I thought about, or I heard this recently, is like in a lot of these families, the children are the ones who bring Judaism into the household because their parents are like, we didn't grow up with this. I'm going to send them to Jewish school or Jewish camp or whatever, and then their kids bring in the Pesach, all the traditions, which is super beautiful and sad. And
you feel that's how it is for like you and your
no, my family went through a very particular route. I mean, we never, we grew up traditional, and we would go to holidays in the synagogue and stuff like that. But my mom, when the Soviet Union fell apart, she went to the synagogue of her city in Rostov, and they became part of the community. My grandma became the cook of the synagogue, so they knew a lot more. And then when my parents met here, we grew up with it, and then it was just a slow progression upwards through different organizations and different communities. And I think it's not to call my family unique, but it's unique in that sense because usually it's very secular, it's very culturally Jewish because Russian Jews are very proud.
Your dad is also Russian?
My dad's from Odessa. So Soviet Union at the time, now it's Ukraine.
Right.
But it's a very Russian speaking place.
Right. And then they met here
in
around
1992 on a bus in somewhere in Foxaba or something super random.
And they were both living here at the time.
Yeah, they immigrated here about a year apart, maybe 8 months apart. Met here, and then the rest is history.
Got married here, then cause
got married here.
You grew up in Moscow for a good amount of time. That's why I'm wondering where it all connects.
So got married here. When I was 3 months old, we moved to the Netherlands. Lived there for 3 years, and then
where?
By Antwerp.
Okay, cool. It's so interesting to hear.
So super
we sat down and spoke about
it. Yeah, exactly. We were babies. Cool. We had fields to run around, but my parents have been working for Herbalife for 32 years, and at that time, my dad was bouncing between Moscow and Netherlands every week because they work for the Russian-speaking market. At some point, he was like, "Yalla, let's go." And so I don't know. My parents, I guess, think a bit differently a lot of the times. They didn't want us to go to a Russian school. They wanted us to go to a not Russian school. So we ended up at an American school type of thing. I went to summer camps in the U.S.
Oh, you did? Where?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania.
Which one?
Cedar Lake or NJY camps.
Yeah, I know that. Nice.
It's I did that for 8 years. Yeah, I would fly from Moscow for the vacation to Israel, and then with the Israeli group, I would go to the U.S. This was
20 years.
I mean, more? No. I finished 20. When I was 16 or 15. I'm 29, so a bit less than 20.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I also went to summer camp, Jewish summer camp in the States. I think it's good, for
it's great
young Jews development, young kids development, summer camp in general. And then obviously I specifically went to a Jewish one, so I think it was good in that way.
It's so cool.
But it's great to have supervised and also some unsupervised time.
You learn stuff, you explore things. And it was my interaction with American Judaism because it's very I didn't know I went to a reform camp until I was in my late teens because I didn't know about things, and then I came back one summer and I was like, oh, we're using a microphone for Shabbat. I don't get it. Something is not I just didn't know these things, and so then I lived in Spain where I was in a Sephardic community for 6 years, where I came to synagogue first time, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I know all these songs and everything, but everything sounds and goes differently, and it's and I find the Jewish culture, the Jewish people, so fascinating. It's also I'm so grateful to what I'm doing because I'm just out here I don't know, just meeting all types of people. I think it's very important. I mean, not just what I'm doing, but I think it's just we need more communication between one another because I think we're unified, especially now over a common cause. But I still do think we're quite disconnected from one another because we all live our own realities. And until we have a conversation, you don't know that this person has the same reality, same passions and same challenges.
I agree.
And
I don't know if this is the wave you're on, but for me, in terms of Judaism, I grew up I would say non-practicing modern Orthodox. So we know all the traditional. We know all most of the halachot.
Yeah.
And my family, we would go to shul on high holidays, kosher house, Shabbat dinner, can't go out on Friday night. It's Saturday. Like I would go to my youth group, and what I've come to the opinion that I've come to form is that I have friends that are like, fully Chabad and like are Hasidic, and then I have friends that are like secular and like don't even believe in God, and although I think it's like good to be like religious or spiritual to a certain level because I think it helps with like gratitude and like in the day-to-day like helps people just manage like negative emotions better. I also like want everyone I know to be happy. So
Totally.
My friend who's super religious, like some people are like, oh, he's super religious, can you believe it? It's like, yeah, like amazing for him, good for him.
No, whatever floats your boat.
My friend who's not religious at all, like, oh, he's off the derech. It's like, bro, it's fine. Just be happy, be a good person,
it's about,
and then figure out the rest. Whatever works best for your lifestyle. You don't
totally
have to.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about how you treat people. I think whatever floats your boat. I think there's no space for judgment. And I'm gonna bring it to what I'm doing just to just to say it again, right? Like my goal is for you to go wherever you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
If it's religious, sick. If it's cultural or Israel related or whatever, your once a year Shabbat dinner, sick. And so the idea is we want to help you, the person who's searching, and for the person who's not searching, because a lot of people maybe didn't grow up in it, maybe don't know, like they think of Judaism or the Jew, like, and it's Hasidics, and it's not. I mean, like half the time. And so they don't know that there are these other spaces. But for me, I mean, first of all, I think it's easier personally to be a believer. Like, I think so many people.
It is easier.
It's so much easier. And not in like a cop out type of way, but like people are always searching for things. And I'm like, look, I grew up in a Jewish reality. Why do I need to look elsewhere?
I agree 100%.
The other thing is we have 3,000 years of wisdom. Like, I mean, I look at other places, but I have so much I can tap into and learn from. Why not? And there's, and again, for me, because it's a post-Soviet reality, like, I don't know how many Jews are left in my family, like if it's intermarriage or the Holocaust or other things, like, and for me, it's kind of like, it's in a way a responsibility of like, first of all, I love it. I really enjoy it. But second of all, it's like, who am I for it to break on me?
Like I agree.
Like,
I agree
and I think about it. Like my parents didn't were identified as Jews because of the Soviet Union, but they didn't know anything about. They didn't have a religion, a culture, a history, a language, a land. They had anti-Semitism that was in their passport. That's how they went about it. And to know that I'm able to choose and do what I want and be a practicing Jew or whatever, like to me it's a blessing, and I think it's such a beautiful community to tap into.
I agree.
Again, religious, not religious, and
how do you identify what sect of Judaism and what I don't know what?
I mean, I don't know if I have a sect. I mean, I'm I keep kosher. Like my household, my family has kept kosher since I was like 14. So like I don't eat shellfish. I only eat kosher meat. I will eat out as a vegetarian or pescatarian. I do tefillin every day. I started doing it during COVID because I felt like I also really appreciate it because it also gives me time to connect to myself, connect to God, connect to the world, and gratitude. I think gratitude is so important.
I agree a lot, yeah.
And I enjoy it. Like I go to Shiurim. I go to the Brownstone or other places for like the weekly parsha because I didn't grow up with it. I think it's so cool.
I agree.
So I go to Shabbat dinners every week, either if it's my family or somewhere else. On Saturdays, I like to go. I don't even make it to the prayer. I mostly make it to Kiddush, but I enjoy it all. And like I'm only slowly going upwards. I think there's a world where I'll keep Shabbat at some point, or but. I've always been the more Jewish child in my family. My brothers are a lot more less. So I don't know these terms, when you speak to Sephardic people, you are traditional. There's no reform, right?
Right.
So I mean, I'm on the traditional side. I mean, to call myself modern Orthodox, I think is. I don't know how. No, I don't know. I'm not a modern Orthodox. Right. But I'm a traditionally minded. Yeah.
You're traditional and okay.
Orthodox. Did you ever watch the Jewish matchmaking?
No, my mom's in love with
No, but the point is,
YYY
I don't
dress.
remember exactly the term, but they thought, or she used the term, which works really great. I can't remember what it is, but it's kind of like, you're traditional, you're secular, because I'm a very, I mean, I don't consider myself secular because
Yeah.
but I'm very integrated in my reality. And like when
Mhm.
a lot of people who I know who are friends with me who are non-Jewish don't know a lot of these things, and they're like, "Oh, really? I didn't know that I keep kosher, that I do," And a lot of people sometimes, from high school, they think, or they're like, "Oh, you've become so Jewish." I'm like, yes and no.
Like maybe from their perspective, yes, but then you ask like Hasid,
No.
and
It's not from that, but yes and no. In the perspective, like, yes, I have in regards to I've done more things,
Mhm.
and I'm visual about it. I'm out, not outspoken, but I speak up for what I stand for.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if you grew up with me in school, I didn't go to a Jewish school. You would never see me interact with. You wouldn't be at home with me on Saturday night. You wouldn't. You honestly, you didn't even notice that I didn't eat the meat with you. You
Yeah.
didn't know that I mean, you knew that I went to Jewish summer camp, but that meant nothing to you. So like,
Yeah.
and when I left Moscow and I went to Syracuse, like I started with Jewish orientation. I was in Hillel. I was in Chabad. I was in Stand With Us. Everything straight away. I didn't have this infrastructure at home. I don't regret, or like there's this reality I had. There was so much beautiful young Jewish adult life in Moscow. I didn't know about it. I didn't participate in it. But every time, whenever I left, or even when I was in summer camps, I did a Jewish summer program when I was 16. I've always been about it. I've just become an adult, and I'm able to form it in the way I want.
Yeah. Which is important.
So I don't really identify with something. I identify with the Jewish people and Jewish practice.
Amazing.
But
that's beautiful.
From a very, very also spiritual standpoint, because my family comes from a more of a spiritual standpoint. So a lot of what we do comes from like, I have a Jewish soul. I live in a Jewish reality. Like I do these things for the better of myself and the world, kind of like it's not do this cause. It's more like there's things. So I'm it's not to me it's not personal. Like it's it's something I'm exploring, and I'm always talking about it, and it's always fascinating to me to understand others, and I think it's important to speak about this because
I think it's a great mindset.
I think we're also put into black and white boxes, right? Like,
I agree with that as well.
There's an exercise where the children were asked to draw a Jewish person. They drew a Hasid, and they asked to draw an Israeli, and they drew like a flip-flop, shorts, tank top type of guy. And like, there's no middle ground, and like, and because there's 15 million of us. People will never meet a Jew most of the time. People will never meet an Israeli. So it's whatever you read or see or like hear, bad or good, like you don't know. And I mean, they look like us, like I'm sure if people watch your podcast, people like the interviewee looks, all time you get all types of people because that's how it works.
Yeah. No, 100%. Even like, I mean, especially being in Israel, I've seen some like very unique looking Jews, like Hasid with a beard and tattoos and piercings, and so it's like a combination of everything.
The Jewish journey
it's so cool. It's so cool to see, honestly.
Each their own journey, each their own speed.
Yeah. Wait, also for Yallagan, did you help come up with the name?
I did not. I think I think it was fully Michael. I could be wrong. I think it was Michael and Lucy, but it's Yalla Balagan, but together. Just fun. It just kind of was a fun name. It stuck. It's kind of fun sometimes hearing more English-speaking people call it Yallagan because they don't Yallagan because they don't know Yalla or Balagan.
That's funny, Yallagan.
But it like when I first heard it, it kind of like threw me off. I was like, "What? But it's
nah.
chilled.
I like it. It flows. It flows definitely. Yeah. I had a question from a viewer.
Yeah.
One of my like 3 viewers. Do you guys have any competitors? Even though it's not really competition, because
first of all,
First
of all, my goal is to bring Jews together. If there's someone else doing it, amazing.
Yeah.
There's no one particularly exactly like us. First of all, we're the only closed platform out there. We're the only truly global platform. There's a lot of local solutions. There's a local one in Chicago. There's a local one in Frankfurt. There's a local one in Boston.
In a lot of places. And have you guys been in contact with them?
We've spoken to like, some. Hey,
work with us also.
I mean, I'm happy to work with them. We first want to be more like in ourselves and be not like we're very confident in ourselves but structured because I don't 100% know how we would work because I don't want to cannibalize you, but they're also aggregating, right? So I'm happy to try find synergy. We're speaking to a couple organizations in the U.S. We're just trying to figure out because like do they join our because we're not leaving Yallagan type of thing, you know. So it's either do they join us, do we do some sort of partnership because it's hard, but not particularly. There's one in Canada which is trying. I mean, they have like certain parts of Canada covered, and then you click on their international thing, and there's nothing there. So it's
Right.
like, and I think one thing is we started with grassroots. We very much like the reason why we have all these organizations is because we've met all of them.
Yeah. I think it'll also be good from the point of like, let's say, you know, this organization that is similar to Yallagan, but like locally in Boston, and people that are like depending on it and using it frequently, and then they're traveling for that
As a
organization.
resource page,
yeah, for that organization, be like, oh, Yallagan
So we want to do that.
works in this other country that you're traveling to.
Exactly. I mean,
So
we
think
want to
that'd
be
super
that
cool.
for those people. We want to be that for Masa. You know, when people come here from Masa or Taglit and stay longer, we want them to be able to be exposed to see what the locals are doing.
Also, I just thought of this that you said Masa, like after birth, right, Taglit, people stay, and people also travel Europe.
Yes, so for
Which
Europe,
is super important.
also for Americans who go for exchange. When you're in Barcelona for 6 months, you want to, and then you travel. So it's 100% that. It's very much this. That's what I'm saying. The demographic is all the same but different. Everyone, and we live in a global world. People travel, and people are out here trying to connect, and we're so happy to give them the tools.
Amazing, yeah. No, I think it's great. Have you been on a podcast before or no?
Yes, once, but it was on Zoom.
What was it?
It's an amazing product. It's called V. We use them. VEE.com.
I know it. They're Israeli based. She
just raised $7 million. Like she's
amazing.
a rock star. And they're helping provide software for nonprofits to be better. So they help us with our social media, and they also help with finding grants to try and apply to. And I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot more in the future.
So cool.
And she does. I think it's the nonprofit therapy. I think it's called.
Okay.
It's cool. She like interviews her, and it was good.
And what she interviewed?
She interviewed me and Michael.
Okay.
Yeah,
for Yallagan specifically.
For Yallagan specifically.
That's so cool. And you guys had been using them already prior to the episode?
Yeah. We were already using them, and they just put us into their flow. Like I want to try and get into. First of all, I mean, I like to speak. I mean, not just.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I like to speak, not just to speak, but like you know. But I also I want to be able. I've wanted to start a podcast for a long time.
Bro, you would be really good at it, and let me tell you why.
Thank you. Why?
Well, you could be really good or really bad, and I'll tell you why. I ask a question.
Yeah.
And something I struggle with because I want to make sure that the person I'm asking a question to is explaining the question the most that I can. But I've like asked like base level question, and you've like answered it and gone into more. So like this first page I had like, just like some notes in case like. I didn't ask most of these things. You just went over these things.
Okay, good. I also Beautiful. I mean, I've learned I've learned to like. I try and like not filter myself, but like I mean, I don't know how podcast. I don't know if I'm supposed to be speaking more. You're supposed. I think
I don't know either.
It depends. Like that's what I'm saying. I think there's somewhere. But if it's a question, like I have a thought about it. But I think I may have come to maybe a name, but I need to speak to the people who kind of do it in the program. I think I want to do maybe Jewish Journey.
Okay, I like that.
Like I do want to like not stick to Judaism, but I think Jewish people have such your and your family's story and journey is unbelievable, and then everyone around us has their own, and I think it's so fun.
Did you see this Instagram page that I think it's called Face It Israel?
Maybe. It's new.
Look at them.
I'll check them out.
It's like on the same subject.
Yeah.
But they're just doing like Instagram posts. I met the guy's name is Jamie. I believe his co-founder, if you want to call it that, is Nicole. And yeah, I just saw their posts like interviewing people right now, like just in Israel, and just like allowing them to speak about themselves. And besides like the post, I enjoyed just like meeting him. He offered to buy me a couple, like their thing is like buying people cups of coffee.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, even
Me too.
though I'm Colombian. My dad's Cuban.
Wow,
I'm living in Israel, so people are like throwing
I just have the energy to.
Me too. Me
to
too. Also.
roll.
Me too. Also. No, I'm very happy. I'm not dependent on caffeine.
That's the other thing. I've never wanted to be dependent on something. It's like
exactly
water.
So
2 cups of water here.
So what they're doing is similar to like Jewish Journey and highlighting like the different types of Jews that exist.
Yeah.
I think in podcast form, everyone has a podcast nowadays.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I just did a program.
I think it'd be super cool.
I was just on a program in Sweden for 10 days, and there were 20 of us, and each one of us had to do a 15-minute presentation about their Jewish journey. It could have been a presentation, it could have been a workshop, it could have been a trivia game, someone did a trivia game, or a poetry, whatever. And it just, people really have such unbelievable stories, and their families have such unbelievable stories. And that's it's like a pretty general concept, Jewish journey, like what does that mean, right? And then you make whatever you want to make of it, and I think it's really, I want to see, and like I'm very happy to do my first in person because I can see what's necessary. So is there a timeline or path for Yallagan to be like revenue generating or self-sufficient? It's tough to say. I mean, we hope to maybe in the next year or two be able to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
We really are banking on this crowdfunding. Like, we want to try find kind of larger donors, and I'll be reaching out to everyone I know, and like we can put like look out for in September. I mean, we'll try to make a buzz about it. But that will allow us to make sure we got our last technology down, hire some people, and be able to actually put the right kind of some of the more kind of robust processes in check. So then, you know, imagine you have $50 and you want to advertise your thing, you can advertise it on our website. We just don't have, we want to make sure we have the functionality. So we don't have an exact timeline because our technology is taking a bit longer than expected. So I just stopped telling people dates because because expectations are the worst thing in life. So
and what's the, you kind of like went over it, but I don't know, in case it's like something that you didn't mention, like what was the biggest challenge early on versus now?
I mean, we're 3 people. It's just time is challenging, and resources, not just financially, just like resources. I think usability, I think people just using it takes time, but it's the way behavior works, you know, in customer behavior, things takes time. And even though you have your 15 WhatsApp groups that you check and you're like, hate it, you still do it. So it's just getting people, I mean, we need a mobile application, you know, so like it's just these little things that are very practical, but still take time to get done. But people have been very responsive, have been very supportive, very, been good to us. And we hope to keep going. I mean, again, like, I think in a very dark way, October 7th has played into our hand because I think people really understand the need for it, and I think people are looking for it, and I think we ourselves are looking for safe spaces. You know, I've traveled, and every time I'm outside of Israel, like, it's different, and it sucks to say that, but, and, you know, anytime you're around kind of your own people, you feel a bit at ease and a bit more calm and more at peace, and we want to be able to provide that space for people, and
for sure,
make sure that Israel keeps pushing. So
I'm in. How do you measure success, like for yourself, for Yallagan, for your ideas in general, especially with an idea that takes time?
That's a great question. I think I'm still learning I think I'm still learning to measure my own success. I think one thing that's important, like I do better when I see results. So when our numbers just kind of, you know, if it's users, if it's organizations, if events published, you know, I think we managed to publish more events this past month than we've ever had. We also have a few Masa interns, so shout out to our Masa interns, or Destination Israel or whatever they are. But it's just, you know, it's the different KPIs that we have in terms of benchmarking and trying to hit those things to be able to keep it's also to show people, look, we're growing, and we're doing it with like kind of no resources. Like, imagine what we can do and make the difference we can do if we had the resources. And for myself, man, it's been a ride. Like, I'm trusting the system and trying to be proactive and be
good,
putting out good, and I hope and I believe that good will come back to me, and I'll
It will. 100%.
We'll be
100%.
okay. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. You covered like pretty much everything.
I'm sorry.
No,
Don't
be sorry.
I'm
It's
sorry.
perfect.
Not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. I also like to get to know the personality. I know what you do with your free time. A lot of like just socializing things. But do you have any
Yeah.
specific hobbies that you haven't mentioned or that?
I mean, I have hobbies that I'm not pursuing.
Mhm.
I mean, like social, like it's like
Say it. Put it out into the world.
no. I mean, improv is what I love.
Oh yeah.
And basketball is what I love, and I
Nice.
don't do either of them enough, or like hardly at all.
Mhm.
There's a couple improv places I can go to on Tuesdays, but I go to open mics, so it's like not. I don't even sing. I just hang and
You watch.
I watch like.
And the improv you like is what, singing or
no, improv is improvisation,
like acting.
like acting.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
I
sorry.
know what improv is, but there's
Sorry.
different types of improv. So I'm like, what type of improv
acting
do you
improv.
like? Okay, cool.
Yeah, mostly funny, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
I did it all. I did theater throughout school.
Really?
I when I was in Spain, I led the improv club of my
Nice.
university.
Nice.
And then basketball, I played all my life. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to try and pick up some smaller, random hobbies. But
It's important.
It's important. But I like learning. I like social. Like it's I never. It's funny to when sometimes you watch videos and like, what are your hobbies? It's like I like to hang out with friends, but I really do. Like as in, like,
Yeah.
like I don't know. Yesterday we had, but it's not just hanging out with friends. Like I'm trying to be better at hanging out with friends individually, or just because like I value. There's a lot of people. I've met more people than I can handle, and I also want to meet people better. Like I might not do a podcast with each one of them, but I want to be able to grab a coffee and just to know, like we've had so many conversations, but then I don't know where you're from, or I mean I do, but I don't know where. Like just history, like to form. I don't know, like yesterday we had the football game I went, Today I'm probably going to go to I think there's a JLIC barbecue.
Nice.
I don't know if you're going or not.
No, I'm actually working overnight tonight,
okay,
so I'm not looking forward to
And then
that.
Tuesdays we have open mic night. Like Wednesdays I go to Shiur at the Brownstones. Thursdays is pretty open. Friday is Shabbat. Saturday is Shabbat and beach, and then evening whatever else, and then Sunday we start again. And it's every week. So like,
I hear you.
I don't
hear
like,
you.
and I'm so happy with it. Like, I don't know what hobby. Like, I didn't have like my hobbies throughout life was either sports or theater.
Okay. Well, we should try to get basketball.
Let's play some ball.
I have a ball, and I have
a ball right there.
Nice. I have like 2 or 3 friends that I specifically play basketball with, and we always
actively do it. Yeah, we
try.
We're in the same spike ball group.
I know, I saw.
Yeah, and I've been in.
I love spike ball.
I love spike ball.
You play pickleball or no?
No, I've never played
Pickleball.
I want to play paddle more than pickle.
Yeah, paddle's good.
But like I have a spike ball set. I've never made it out to these guys because I can't get my life together.
It's okay.
Like I want to be out here because there's really very little things that are better than spike ball. Like spike ball is
not. Wait, so 2 p.m. on every Saturday. Burashov, like there's a bunch of nets going on.
Really?
I was told by some guys in one of these
I
group
might be
chats.
able to do that.
Yeah, which is cool. Wait, also, I like theater also, but I was never like a theater kid.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite play or musical?
Wow. Man, I don't know. I love.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I love Wicked. Wicked was great as a musical. I went to a lot of musicals as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, Book of Mormon's always fun.
Book of Mormon's my favorite.
Yeah,
bro.
but like it's like
it's so different. It's just like so different.
Exactly. I feel like I watched something else recently, but I don't remember what it was. I went and watched The Cursed Child, the Harry Potter one.
Oh, I know, but
in
it's
London.
2 parts.
Oh,
right?
I was in London for 3 days, and one of those days I sat 2
Good
parts.
for you.
It was a decision I had to make.
I put it off for the 2 months I was there, and I didn't get a chance. But while I was there, I did get to see 17 different
musicals.
Musicals, one
Whatever
ballet.
plays. Yeah, like I love classical music. I go to concerts. Like I'm down.
Have you ever been to the
Philharmonica?
What is it called?
The Philharmonica?
No, not that. Even though that's cool too. I'm thinking of it's like a musical theater by Evan Gavirol, I think. But they have
I need it to be in English or
Yeah, they
not,
have
or Russian.
They have in English, and some things that they have in Hebrew, they have English subtitles somehow.
I can do that. Like I'm always like that's what I'm saying. I mean, even in the WhatsApp group, I mean, I like if there's a cool play happening or
I'm gonna
a
find it.
classic
We're gonna
musical,
go. We're gonna go because I've been putting it off a
I'm
lot, and
super
like it's
down.
something I
Like
enjoy.
I love
I love live
performances. Like I'm down. Like I love going to galleries. I love museums. I don't. I'm not the one to initiate these things, but I'm super down to go.
Yeah.
Like my parents, it's so nice. My parents are here, and because there's a lot of Russians now here, Russian culture are very cultured people. So we're going to like classical music all the time.
Amazing, that's so cool.
We went to see someone who was reading poetry on stage with a guy improvising saxophone. You know, it's like things like how did like like sick.
Nice.
Nice. But yeah, food, love eating.
Yeah,
love restaurants.
How often do you see your parents?
Not enough. Once a week,
Okay.
At least once a week. But
you have parking in this building for your car?
No, the parking in this building was very expensive. So I was before parking for free on Rothschild at a family friend's house,
which is far from here.
Which is very far. So I was spending more money to get there. But now I got a very good deal, like $7.50, 2 minutes walking. So
amazing.
I finally have a car close by, and so I'm a bit more mobile. And then travel is something like I don't know. Can you really call traveling a hobby? Like.
You can. I don't know.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think of it as like, I'm very fortunate that I've got to travel a bunch. A lot of it has been for work or for other things. But I'm trying not to travel as much. Like, I want to be here. Like,
yeah, you want to be present in your routine.
I want to be present in my routine or lack of routine. And I want to be able to build a life. And, like, to build a life, you got to be somewhere. And,
I agree.
So I'm just letting it play out as much as I can. And
yeah. Honestly, it was a great conversation. I have 2 questions to close. One question is just is there anything that like I didn't ask about that you do want to like mention?
I have 2 very talented brothers. They both live here. They're not here. One is an artist. He just exhibited some of his work. He does digital art. The other one makes music and also film. So they're two cool cats to check out.
They are. I met one of them. Shout out your like social if you want.
I mean, I'm Alan Mekibel. I'm assuming you're gonna tag me probably.
Yeah, I will for sure.
Yallagan, and I mean the rest. I mean my brothers are David Chanel. I mean we can somehow get them in somewhere. I don't know. I mean just kind of if you heard about the WhatsApp group. You can reach out. We can get you added.
Yeah,
it's a good place to be. Just go be a good person. Like it's really
amazing. And lastly, wait, I don't know did I ask you what motivates you?
No. What motivates me? Poof, man. I don't know. Like it's a hard like.
It is a hard thing to like put into words, but it's important to think about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what motivates me? I mean, look, people motivate me. I mean, doing good motivates me. Like being able to help people, bringing good and light into the world motivates me. Connecting and strengthening Jewish community connects me, and meeting new people I'm like an extrovert. So like, just meeting new good people motivates me, and trying to make a positive impact in other people's lives. Is very important to me. I don't know how actively I think about it. Maybe I know I'm very.
It's there in the subconscious.
No, I'm grateful every day for the people I get to meet, for the places I get to be, and for the opportunity to be able to learn and spread light and gain light and that way. And so, yeah,
amazing. And you kind of went over this throughout the whole episode, but especially now, if you have like message or advice to the world, to people like starting things, to me starting this podcast, what would your advice be?
I mean, I try to be this way. I don't know if I'm always this way. It's like just do. I think maybe you're a bit younger, but like I think the younger generations are. I think there's a lot of people who are doing stuff, but one thing is like don't be afraid. Like try it, go for it, because you won't know until you do it. Because our brains are not our friends. They create stories for us that are often very sabotaging. Go out there, do your thing, find support, find mentors. But I think the main thing that I've kind of is like the golden rule. Like I do genuinely try and treat people the way I want to be treated. but without expectations, because I had expectations for people as when I was younger in college and stuff like that, and I was like, but I'm giving them, why aren't they being just decent people?
Yeah.
And I just learned, like, people don't owe you ish, and just do what you think is right. Protect yourself. Don't not everybody deserves your goodness of the heart. Like, don't diminish yourself in any way, but like, protect yourself, because you're out here doing good, and make sure that you know yourself. Breathe and drink water.
Amen.
Those are my two.
I think that's great.
Breathing and drinking water, I think, are the things that are
the advice you have for people.
Dude, I've been doing mindfulness like for, like, I don't know, 8 years now, and I tell people, like, do that and drink water. I mean, sleep also.
Yeah, for sure.
Take care of yourself, and
no, I agree with the being nice to people, but you can't really expect
not even just nice
back.
It's like, just be a decent person. Like,
it's free to be nice.
It's free to be nice,
Yeah.
And people care, and you don't know whose life you're changing when, and you don't know how. And I believe the equal action has an equal opposite reaction. Whatever you put out there will come back, and not that you're doing it for things to come back to you, but trust the system. I
agree. Trust the system. Karma is real.
Hashem, baby. Hashem.
If you want to hear this podcast, Into Reality on Spotify, Into Reality Podcast on YouTube, Into Reality Pod on Instagram. Thank you for watching. Alan, thank you for being here. It was a pleasure, man.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.